Hello YouTube, today we're taking a look at the Sega Saturn, a region mod switch for it to be more specific. A lot of great games were released for the system, but many of those were only released in Japan. That is because Sega of North America had a policy of mostly releasing 3D and arcade titles, while RPGs and shooters got turned down. They felt like 2D systems, or 2D games rather, were a thing of the past and wouldn't show off the system enough. But as a Sega collector, I felt the need to be able to import and play some of these classic games for the system. And with a couple solders and a few bucks, you can do this yourself and make playing Japanese games easy as flipping a switch. So once you get your system apart, take off the disk drive and metal shielding, you're going to take the main board out and flip it around. Depending on which model of the Saturn you have, the location of jumpers 6 through 13 will be different, but they will always have to do with the region the system is set to. Here's the jumper cluster on my Model 2 system. What this is jumpers 6, 7, 9, 8, 12, 13, 11, and 10. And on the insides we have 5 volt, 5 volt, ground, 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 ground. Unmodified, there are jumpers set between 7 and a ground, and 10 and a 5 volt. That is what sets it to US mode. Japanese mode is jumper 6 to 5 volt and 11 to ground. In order to switch between regions, we need a double pull, double throw switch. This allows 2 inputs and 2 outputs for each input. On this side we have 5 volts, one from the board, and it's currently set to American, so this is going to be jumper 10. And when we bring the switch down in Japanese mode, instead of 5 volts going to contact 10, it is instead going to contact 6. On the other side, we have ground going from the board, and instead of going from jumper 7 from American mode, it is now going to jumper 11. Now to make the connection between the switch and the board, I use some floppy ribbon cable. I would suggest putting some hot glue over the solder on your board to keep them from shorting out and protect them from falling off. Alright, so here's the system back together. I ran my switch through the back where the battery cell is. Ideally you'd want to drill a hole in the plastic clip that was here this would screw onto, or through at least, and that would keep it insecure, but I lost that. You could also glue it to the side or the main board if you want, but then it'll be hard to take apart. So let's switch to Japanese mode, which is down in the orientation I have it, and show some gameplay of it working. Alright, so now that it's in Japanese mode, we're going to try out a Dragon Ball Z game. As you can see from the case, it is clearly a Japanese game. It has not the large box type, and it has a different kind of label on the side, and it's written mostly in Japanese. So since it is set to Japanese mode, when I turn it on, it should go straight to the game. Though a controller would probably help. There you go. Turn off the light here. Now, doing a region mod does not change the language the game's in, unfortunately. So, unless you know some Japanese, you're not going to be able to read any of this. But most of it makes sense. You know, the menu-wise, the top option is usually the main game. It's a fighter. Next game up is Virtual Cop. This is clearly not a Japanese only title. The reason why I have the Japanese version is because it was actually cheaper for me to buy this on eBay than any of the American versions. It was only $3 shipped straight from Japan. A lot of the in-game text is English, so plays basically the same. Pretty fun game. Alright, now we're going to put in a North American game. I have not switched it over, so this one is telling me that the disc is not suitable for the system. I just wanted to show that. Cartridge unsuitable for the system. I'm not sure why it says cartridge, but it is a disc. Now we're going to switch over to American. If you do not reset the system, it will not do anything. It's just on startup is when it checks for the region. Now it'll let me play the game because I switched. There we go. Doing this mod does not affect the games anyway, anyhow. It just lets you play more games. So there you have it. We've played some Japanese games and an American game. System's still fully functioning. Switch works good. Hopefully you guys got a little bit more understanding on how to do this yourself. I'll leave a link below on the resource I use for this, and hopefully you can do this too. Thanks for watching.